Good morning. Welcome to Studio 365, powered by TableThink. Today is Monday, and this is episode 115. My name is Joshua, and I am here rocking it in the Studio 365. I don't know. I was about to say the Studio 365 lab. Where does that come from?
Because we're a study in progress.
There you go. Exactly. But from our studio here.
Yes.
And we're having a good day and doing this series process.
Yeah. And we people will notice the numbers kind of go off because we went through another series about fear. And so when you're looking at the resources that we have, you'll see there's kind of a difference, but this is kind of part 2.
That's right. Part 2, process part 2.
That's right. And it's an exciting message because
the
sequel. That's right. Why wouldn't we have a sequel?
Yeah.
It worked out so well. And I think that's one of the things that we have to continue to look at, that truly everything's a process, and how we manage life is really determines the outcome of our life. And so we have kind of a cool scripture, and our kind of our thing today is that as we are processing life, that when we make that space, when we, no matter how busy that we are, that we make a space during the day to worship. So with that in mind, I'm going to ask you a question, and then we'll you can read the scripture or do whatever you want with that scripture.
Okay.
So to you, Joshua, what is worship to you?
Well, you as some of our listeners may know, as you know, I lead what a lot of times we call, quote, worship in church. And that's, when we're singing and kind of a time that you kind of lay aside other thoughts and you really focus on God, and you try to really be in tune with God. And so when we talk about worship, my mind goes to that because that's what we do, and that's a thing that you should do. My mind also goes to, I spent a lot of time in the Bible Belt, and everyone kind of, when you say worship, that's what everyone thinks of. And so I've also spent some time thinking of worship as truly just kind of every day and everything that you do, living your life in worship to God. And so for me, it really kind of has those two components of, yes, I need time that I can just kind of, rock out, whether that's with the radio or even without music, but just, I can just really, connect with God and kind of forget about everything else. And then I also want to live a life of worship, where kind of everything that I do is honorable to God, and worshiping Him with my actions and my life.
I love that. I think, for me too, the longer I live, the more I know I need to spend time worshiping God. Yeah. And for me, what it has ended up being is that I turn around and completely face God. And that for those moments where I'm truly worshiping God, and whether it's thanking God or singing, though you'll never hear me sing, Joshua. I've told you that over and over.
We've been trying.
I know. In my heart, I can sing. But it's really in those moments of true worship, I'm no longer weighed down by what is happening in the world, whether it's my personal world or those around me. And it just makes such a difference. I'm freshened and renewed. And the scripture that you'll be reading really talks about what happens when the world worships.
Right, yeah. This scripture is really cool. It comes out of Psalm 19, and it says this: "The heavens proclaim the glory of God. The skies display His craftsmanship. Day after day they continue to speak. Night after night they make Him known. They speak without a sound or word. Their voice is never heard, yet their message has gone throughout the earth, and their words to all the world."
I just love that, and I'm sure you have kind of something to say on it too, but what I can tell you is that I enjoy walking and going different places, and I will put on worship songs. And sometimes I get stuck on one that I just love, and I'll just put it on repeat.
Over and over and over,
because it just so lifts my soul up and changes me. And then while I'm listening and really trying to pay attention to God, as I look around the world, there is a sense that everything about the way God has created the world is worshiping God back. The beauty of everything is such a story of who God is. And in that manner, there is a sense of worship and stuff. And, I think that sometimes we think of worship as a habit, but instead, really, it is I think a state of being.
Yeah.
Of that, of a moment in time where there's a thin place between us and heaven.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And for me, some of it too is like just kind of remembering where I fall in the grand scheme of things, because I think sometimes we can think, oh, we're an important person. We went through the drive-through and said what we wanted and somebody gave it to us. But like every time for me that, and this is kind of weird, but like, especially at night when I'm like, if you're out looking at the stars, I start to think, wow, this is just so big. There's so much I don't know. And what a miracle it is that I'm here. And it's like in that moment that I feel kind of like that hones me into my place of realizing that how thankful I am for the life that God has given me. And, truly that, I'm not God, that God is God and I want to worship him. And so that's why I like that scripture, because I always like thinking about, just looking out at nature. And when I do that, it really prompts me to think. And
So I encourage each of us today to give that space to worship during the day and discover what that renewal is when we focus completely on God. So Joshua and friends, I will speak to you tomorrow in Studio 365.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Studio 365. You can also check out our other podcast, Studio 365 After Hours. You can search for that or go to our website, studio365daily.com, where you can find out how to download it. We will see you tomorrow.